Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So, Against has recently come out and admitted that Chelsea's youngsters are ahead of Manchester United at this present time. Because, to be quite honest with you, Chelsea have got a lot of young players, that are developing and trying to improve, and so too, of Manchester United. He's also come out and assured us Against that James Garner and Brandon Williams will both play in the game tomorrow evening. But that again is a surprise solution. And it was a surprise solution, when Solskjaer did play both players in the 1-0 victory over Partizan Belgrade. I thought it was absolutely fantastic with Brandon Williams against Partizan Belgrade. He was the man of the match. And a lot of Man United fans are now saying that, he's a better solution than Luke Shaw. Taking into account, Luke Shaw, I think he's close to regaining full fitness. Luke Shaw, obviously, hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on in the season, because obviously he's been suffering with a hamstring injury. But Brandon Williams is only 19 years of age. He recently signed a new contract, don't forget. So we've actually, should have played him against Norwich, but we currently didn't. Regarding James Garner, I thought he also played very, very well against Partizan Belgrade. Don't forget, he's only made 2 appearances for the club, James Garner, because obviously his last appearance came before the Partizan Belgrade in the 3-1 away win against Crystal Palace last season. But yeah, he did make his full debut for the football club. And I did say that Solskjaer will see this competition as obviously, to give more chances, to the young players, so they can obviously gain more experience. But like I mentioned, I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the last 3 games. We've done really, really well in the last 3 games. Won 2 and drawn 1. And if we can get a victory at Chelsea, that will mean we can complete a hat trick. We will complete a hat trick of away wins in space of a week, because obviously that game against Norwich, that we won 3-1 at the weekend. That was our first away win in the Premier League this season, and our first away win overall in the Premier League, since February. So that just indicates how how bad our away form has been. But I've got to be honest, I think Norwich is the best performance of the season, so far. We played, with a lot of tenacity. We created a lot of chances in the games. We did score good goals. And it's actually, the best performance of the season, because we do know, actually, for the majority of this season, that, we've actually, been struggling to create chances. We've also been, struggling to score goals. But with that win against Norwich, it puts Manchester United now into 7th in the league, and we are 7 points behind Chelsea from top 4. So I did say, that was a game we had to win, obviously, to keep our hopes up, for that top 4. But I do believe in this game tomorrow evening anyway, that Solskjaer will rest certain key players, obviously, because Bournemouth is on the horizon. But yeah, a lot of young players, will get given their opportunities. We are aware of how much of a difficult game this is going to be against Chelsea. Because obviously, Chelsea now are doing really, really well. After they did endure a bad start to the season, Chelsea now are on 20 points in the league. They've registered 20 points from a possible 30. And, they're 7 points ahead of Manchester United. But, they did endure a bad start to the season, but they've won their last 7 games in all competitions. But it is, going to be a really, really good game. It's going to be a really, really good game. It's Chelsea and Man United, and we know it's going to be very, very difficult anyway, because our record at Stamford Bridge is really, really bad. We did win there last season in the FA Cup, but I think, prior to that, we haven't won there, since 2012. So the last time we won there in the league at Stamford Bridge was back under the Alex Ferguson era. But it is going to be a very, very good game. Like I did mention, Solskjaer, tactically got it right in the last 3 games as well, which is also a very, very good thing, because, me and a lot of Manchester United fans, have been criticising his tactics, for the majority of this season, because mainly this season, Solskjaer has gone with a 4-2-3-1 formation, but obviously in the game against Liverpool and Norwich, he went with a 3-5-2 formation. Solskjaer, give his own perception on that formation. He did actually say that formation is working well, because it enables us, obviously, to keep two attackers up top. But actually, surprisingly, he reverted back to the 4-2-3-1 formation against Norwich. But, we still won the game comfortably. So regarding the last three results, I think the pressure now has definitely eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because taking into account he was under intense pressure, before the Liverpool game. There was reports saying that if we were to suffer a heavier defeat to Liverpool, that could put Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job in serious jeopardy. Then obviously reports were coming out saying if we failed to beat Norwich, that could sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from the football club. But I definitely can guarantee that his job is safe for this season. So I still think he'll be here until May. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. But, Chelsea have obviously, had problems themselves. Obviously, Lampard, got recommended in during the summer. Obviously, Chelsea had sacked Maurizio Sarri at the end of last season, even though he won the Europa League with Chelsea. He also got them to the Carabao Cup final. But obviously, that wasn't enough to save Maurizio Sarri's tenure. He was only at Chelsea around a year. And obviously, don't forget, Chelsea did get that transfer ban, so they can't do any transfer activity in January. They can't do any transfer activity until next summer. Lampard didn't get any money to spend. Obviously, Chelsea lost their best player during the summer through Eden Hazard. But to say that that's happened and that, they have done really, really well. Plus, they have got quite a lot of injuries. I think they've got the same sort of, the same extent of injuries as Manchester United have got. Don't forget, Chelsea have got Ruben Loftus-Cheek out of injury. They've also got Ross Barkley out. They've also got N'Golo Kante out with injury. They've got Andreas Christensen out with injury, Rudiger out. So they have got quite a few injuries of Chelsea. But yeah, so I don't know what formation Solskjaer will go with. He'll probably either go with a 4-2-3-1 or he will go with a 3-5-2. On the odd occasion this season, I think he has gone with a 4-3-3. But he'll probably maybe stick with a 4-2-3-1. But he'll definitely make a lot of alterations in the squad. As you know, Solskjaer did assure that Paul Pogba, will not be playing. Solskjaer's confirmed the extent of Paul Pogba's injury, and he's actually said that he's not expected back until December. So Paul Pogba's out for at least another month. So his injury must be really severe as we first feared in that. So I think Solskjaer has actually got a lot of trustworthy now in Fred, because he's recently come out and he's given his perception on Fred, and he thinks he's obviously the right player to replace Paul Pogba for a while. But credit to Fred, I think he's done quite well recently. In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I have got element of concerns about that. But I said, give him more time at the football club. He's only been here since last summer. I will agree on the aspects that Man United definitely overpaid for Fred. We paid just under £50 million for him last summer. But, recently he has been, playing alongside McTominay in that midfield. And to be fair, they've blended in, really, really well together. But Tomway has been very, very impressive this season. He's actually been a first-team regular this season as McTominay. I've got the same perception of McTominay of what I've got of Fred. Again, don't know if he's the long-term solution for Manchester United, but they're not two world-class midfielders, but they are doing the job at the moment, which is very, very good to see. Luke Shaw won't be playing in this game, I should presume. Obviously, Luke Shaw is close to regaining full fitness, but I probably think Brandon Williams will start at left back, like I mentioned. Eric Bailly's still out. He's a long-term absence. He's out until the end of the year. Fosu Mensah's still out with injury. Matic, he's had a minor problem as Nemanja Matic. Matic, I've got a lot of element of concerns about him anyway. Again, Man United overpaid for him. Matic is now into his third season as a Manchester United player. We paid around, was it £40 million for him back in 2017. But my element of concerns I've got about him is too slow, makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, too easily predictable. So I think Man United needs to consider moving him on in January or next summer. It would be beneficial to try and cash in for him in January, because don't forget his current contract expires at the end of the season. But Matic is now 31 years of age. Tuanzebe, I don't think he will be playing in this game, because I think it's unknown, when he will be back in contention, Tuanzebe. And I did say, in the games he's played in this season, he has been very, very impressive as Tuanzebe. He has been very, very impressive. Don't forget, he has got a hip injury. He sustained the injury, whilst he was warming up, for the game against Liverpool, because he was named in the starting 11. But obviously, Rojo had taken his place in the team. Diego Dalot, he's obviously still out with injury. It's also unknown when he will be back. He's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season. As Diego Dalot, obviously he's one of our backup options at that right back position. It's obviously good news that Martial now he's back from injury as well, so he can obviously add more inspiration in our attacking third of the pitch. And already since he recovered from injury, he scored 2 goals in his last 2 games, which is good. He wasn't so effective in the game against Partizan Belgrade, but I thought his performance was fantastic against Norwich. And I think he can succeed as a Manchester United player. He is only 23 years of age. Obviously, it got confirmed at the start of this season that Martial has been given that number 9 shirt, so he's obviously playing more centrally, even though he predominantly plays out wide on the left. But I think he's very effective in that central position. But Martial's produced 52 goals for Man United since he arrived from Monaco, and Martial now is into his 5th season at the football club. Don't forget Jesse Lingard has just recently recovered from injury. He recently had a hamstring problem, and he's definitely one of the players that does need to step up to the plate, because I've been very, very disappointed with his performances this season. Like I mentioned, reflecting on his status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. He should be putting much more better performances out and all that. So anyway, with regarding the injuries, that Man United have had, obviously Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. But we did beat Chelsea, at the beginning of the season. We did beat them comfortably by 4 goals to 0. To be quite honest with you, it wasn't a 4-0 game. But in that particular game, we was very, very clinical. It was actually Chelsea that played the expansive football and that. So Solskjaer's already beaten Frank Lampard, so he's obviously looking to beat him again. But I think, Chelsea, seem happier with Frank Lampard. I've got to praise him. He's done a really, really good job so far. But, Lampard knows the traditions of Chelsea Football Club, because he was a long-serving player for them for 13 years. He's compatible to Solskjaer in that aspect, because don't forget, Solskjaer is our manager now, and he knows the traditions of Manchester United and that. But, Lampard, was at Chelsea 13 years. He's actually their all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. Obviously, he had that proven pedigree as a player, Lampard. He hasn't really got that managerial experiences yet. Don't forget, he only started management last season with Derby, but he enjoyed a great season with Derby, because he actually progressed them to the the playoff final. But he's doing well with Chelsea at the moment, and obviously the vast majority of Chelsea fans, are obviously backing him and that. And obviously regarding on our last 3 results, I think there's some more Man United fans now that are willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and obviously now give him more time at the football club. I think the last time we played Chelsea, by the way, in the Carabao Cup was back in 2012, which was around 7 years ago now, back under the Ferguson era. Chelsea did beat us by 5 goals to 4 after extra time. But there's been great games between Man United and Chelsea over the years. But it's really, really hard to predict, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think if we can put a good performance out, we can play as a team, we can create chances and that. I think we have got a great chance of winning this game. But the Carabao Cup, is nowhere near as imperative, as the league and that. The league, of course, is very, very imperative. We only just progressed past Rochdale in the last round. Obviously, Chelsea got through comfortably. They beat Grimsby in the last round by 7 goals to 1. But so like I mentioned anyway, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve and that. And I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A lot of certain aspects of me do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players, and a lot of them have been given their chances this season that I want to add into the equation. And don't get me wrong, I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. I don't think all of them, can become a success at Manchester United. So I think the club need to orchestrate on maybe loaning some out in January, because I think, that would be, very, very beneficial, to do that, because maybe they're not good enough to represent Man United. Maybe, they're not getting, the opportunities, that they would like. But I can definitely assure that likes of Mason Greenwood, Tuan Zebe, probably Brandon Williams, they'll all become successes at the football club. These question marks around Solskjaer, why is he not yet started Mason Greenwood from the start in the league? I think Greenwood now this season has made around 7 substitute appearances in the league. But I think by the time Greenwood's 23, 24, I think he can become a huge success at Manchester United. Again, he can play as a number 9. We have played him on the right quite a few. Well, in a couple of games we've played Greenwood on the right this season. But yeah, I do believe he will become a success. And don't forget, he is only 18 years of age, is Mason Greenwood. I've got an element of concerns about Chong. I think he's totally comparison to Greenwood. And I think the club probably need to ease one of the young players that we need to orchestrate on, loaning them out in January and that. I also credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, like I said, for the last 3 games, he also recommended 3 good players to the squad during the summer. Obviously, we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. I'm actually surprised, of how quickly, they've settled in, because, not all players, settle in and that, and we've obviously bought quite a few players that didn't settle in straight away. Prime example, Lindelof. I know he's doing really, really well now, and for most of this season, he's blended in alongside Maguire in our backline well. But when he first came into the football club under Mourinho, he didn't settle in. He actually enjoyed a really, really difficult first season, but since then he has really, really improved. And Fred, he's not fully settled in as yet, so they're totally comparison to the 3 signings we recommended in during the summer. So I'm happy during the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre half in that we wanted, and we've actually addressed our defensive deficiencies, which is good. We also got that right back in that we needed, but it was just a shame during the summer that we didn't address all the problematic areas. So Man United definitely need a midfielder. That's one of the priority areas where we need to strengthen up, because we need to add depth in that midfield. We're missing that creative impetus in midfield, and we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. And like I took into account, I think Man United have made quite a lot of mistakes, in the last 6 or 7 years or so. One of the mistakes obviously was us, letting Ander Herrera go, because arguably he was one of our best players since the Ferguson era. And plus, we know how much of an impact he made in that midfield. Herrera did serve 5 years at Manchester United, by the way. I thought he had 3.5, 4 good years out of the 5 years he was here. But it was bad business in the football club, letting his contract run down and letting him go on a 3 transfer. But we need to recruit a replacement for him in January or next summer. And we definitely need an attacker. I think Solskjaer's orchestrating on, bringing 2 forwards in January. We need someone that can come in that can assure us goals. Someone, that can be more effective in the box. And we need to recruit a replacement for Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. Because I did say since their departures from the football club, we look very, very exposed in that attacking line. So yeah, that's another one of the areas where Man United need to strengthen up. But like I took into account, I think in the next 3 to 4 windows, our recruitment has got to improve, because analysing our recruitment now for several years, it has been, extremely poor. And I did say in that aspect, the vast majority of the blame stems from the board. And I did say as well, due to our inconsistency, the board are to blame. I think, it is a mixture, so you can say everyone is to blame. Like I said, Solskjaer's accountable for some of the, bad performances this season. A lot of the players, have been underperforming. Obviously, some of the blame also stems from Ed Woodward, but I think the vast majority of the blame is the board. And the board also didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the summer. And I think the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club. But, whether they can do this or not, I do not know. But yeah, the recruitment has definitely now got to improve, because during the summer we didn't get all the players that wanted to recommend in. But I think, one of the main factor reasons why that happened is because we're not in Champions League football. And obviously, when you're not in Champions League football, then obviously it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. I haven't, like I said, I haven't fully, disregarded the top 4. I know I said that before and that, because obviously, it was looking like there was going to be no improvements at the club. But we're beating Norwich, so at least we're keeping our hopes up for that current top 4. And Solskjaer's obviously, aware of the expectations he has to exceed at Manchester United, and obviously, those expectations he has to exceed is get the top 4 this season, because I think that is our expectations, so we can get back into the Champions League. Obviously, we knew at the start of this season, regardless of the 3 players we brought in, I still knew we weren't going to mount any kind of title challenge up this season. I knew we wasn't going to win the league this season. But I said analysing our squad, it's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. And we have got big ambitions for the future, and those ambitions are to get back to being a competitive elite level football club, get back up there, winning major honours and that. But we know it's a long rebuilding process. Not things aren't going to be fixed. In a couple of months. It's going to take at least a couple of windows. To fix the problems at Manchester United. And like I recently said, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back, to where we do want to be. Don't forget, Ryan Giggs recently came out and told Ed Woodward to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer around 6 new signings. And this is what where we do currently. I think we're orchestrating on getting at least 4 new signings in next year. But like I took into account earlier on, and I've mentioned on my recent videos, I think we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. We'll look to get 1 or 2 players in January, and then we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. But Solskjaer, you can say, is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because analysing the majority of this team, it isn't Solskjaer's anywhere. Obviously, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because obviously Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players in. There's still 9 of those players here now. So Solskjaer's still inheriting them. There's still players here from the Van Gaal era he's inheriting. There's still Mario from the David Moyes era. And there's still actually, a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So give him a bit more time. Give him a couple more windows and that. I think anyway, us sacking Solskjaer now, wouldn't solve a lot of their problems at the football club. But I think actually the last 3 results have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, because if they hadn't have gone, how we wanted them to, then I think, he could have been sacked from the football club, or the pressure, would have mounted up on him, even more. We know we've registered 13 points, from a possible 30 this season, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. But we're only 10 games into the Premier League season. There's still 28 games left, so there's still plenty of time to turn things around. So we will take that into account. But I don't think he's the long-term manager for Man United. Solskjaer, I don't think he's going to be here for the long-term future, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because I know we've done well in the last 3 games and that, and but it hasn't really changed my perceptions regarding Solskjaer. I still believe he isn't the right man for Manchester United, even though I do credit him for the last 3 games, but he isn't the right man for Man United, even though he came out the other week and insisted he's the right man for Manchester United. And obviously Ed Woodward agrees with him. Ed Woodward insists he's still 100% backing him. But he's not, Solskjaer did actually say, he's never felt the job is too big for him at the football club. So he still believes he's the right man. But my element of concern is that, he hasn't really got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United. Despite the fact he knows the traditions of the club, I just don't think he hasn't got enough managerial experience. He hasn't really got that experience to the highest level, because before he came to Man United, he managed Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. Obviously, before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He obviously, had, a really short tenure with Cardiff. He only managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff. And obviously, he ended up getting sacked, because obviously, Cardiff had got relegated. And, some Man United fans feared early on in the season that, he could replicate, if he is to remain in the job this season, that he could replicate at Man United, what he currently did with Cardiff. And don't forget, Solskjaer, managed Manchester United reserve team, and he watched some of this team this day and age, grow and develop. But there's still obviously probably a lot of Man United fans, that still want him out in the football club. But if we was to now, for example, if we was to go on a 7-match winning run, then maybe my perceptions will start to change, regarding Solskjaer and that. But we have lost to silly teams this season who, on paper, we should be definitely beating. West Ham away, we should have beat them. We've lost to West Ham twice in 2 seasons at the London Stadium. We lost to Newcastle 1-0, we should have beat them. At home to Crystal Palace, where we definitely should have beat them. But you can pinpoint certain games out this season where we've actually dominated periods of these certain games. We've created chances, but we just haven't been ruthless enough in front of goal. And that aspect is replicates last season, because last season we didn't score enough goals, and we actually created a lot of chances in certain games last season, but still didn't manage to score enough goals. And I know we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. Obviously, last season was bad enough, because last season we finished 6th, and obviously we failed to win many silverware. We didn't win any silverware in that. We didn't win many silverware. But yeah, probably give Solskjaer more time in the football club. But obviously he's making plans for January. Obviously we have got a lot of players on our agenda. Who we could go in for in January, like I mentioned. Don't forget, Solskjaer had worked out his transfer strategy during the summer, and he wants to, he wanted to recruit young British players to the club, and I still think he's keen on continuing his current policy. But he's still keen and continuing his current policy in that. But yeah, Solskjaer, hasn't, even been at Manchester United a year now. He's been here just under a year. He's been our permanent manager for around, 7.5 months. You can say he's enjoyed a difficult 7 months or so with the football club. Obviously, Solskjaer, don't forget, he's on a 3-year contract with Man United. I just want to take that into account. But, it's been, for the majority of the time, he's been permanent manager, it's been totally comparison to what I saw when he was the interim manager, because Solskjaer did really, really well when he was the interim manager. He got the best out of these group of players. He exceeded expectations. He won his first 8, I think, or was it his first 9 and that, and won 14 out of 19 in total. And my perceptions were different then regarding Solskjaer, because I thought in that 3-month period he was the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. But yeah, and he was also, another thing I credit him for, he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, and he did, really, really well. He made 366 appearances in all competitions as a player, scored 126 goals, and did really, really well, did Solskjaer. But my concerns I've got about him, he hasn't really got that managerial experience, but that doesn't say, he isn't going to succeed at Manchester United, that doesn't mean anything. Another mistake we did make was giving him the job, because I think, we rushed it. I think it was overscheduled, because, we should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season, to decide not, whether to give him the job. So that's another mistake the football club make, and I feel sorry for him in a way, because the club have put him in a very, very difficult position. I did say more incomings are definitely needed, but I think also the club also need to focus on more of the outgoings. Despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, there is still more problematic players at the football club. So obviously the players that left, Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, you saw Chris Smalling leaving the football club after, after what he served 9 years at Man United. He joined Roma on loan, by the way, for just under £3 million. Then obviously we saw Finney going, Darmian, he went for just over £1 million. Then we saw Herrera and Fellaini go. Lukaku and Sanchez left, and a couple of goalkeepers went out on loan. So around 7 outfield players left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. What? All right. All right. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, and I've already gone through with you, what players I think need to be moved on in January or next summer, or in the future. For me, Jones, he's one of the problematic players of the football club, and another mistake for Manchester United as well. Was giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season. He's been here since the Ferguson era. Like I said, in these types of games, in the Carabao Cup and the Europa League, will get his chances, but we need to move Jones on, and don't forget, if we can get rid of him, within the next 2 to 3 years, we can obviously cash in for him. To be quite honest with you, we did get him from Blackburn, if I do remember rightly, for around, was it 17 million? But we need to, he's one of the players that does need to go. There's wait that a minute. Phil Jones, definitely needs to go. Matic, yep, another problematic player, needs to go. I think Young, he's another player that needs to be moved on. He has played quite regularly this season as Ashley Young, probably mainly due to the injuries we've had at them fullback areas. What are you doing, Dad?
It's freezing, isn't it?
It's not, it's warm.
I know, because I've got heating on, that's why. I don't care fucking what bill is. I've reported shower. They're coming to mend it on Monday, 11th of November.
Alright.
So we'll just have to have baths up until then. It's not Monday coming, it's one after.
Alright.
And they're coming to do that string on fan on Friday.
Yeah.
And when it makes noises, funny noises when it's a tap on?
Yeah.
They're coming to sort that out Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about it. It's only just over a week. We'll just have to have a bath instead.
Yeah.
God, ain't you me? It's fucking, Are you still texting?
Not now.
Why are you doing a video?
Not now. Not texting her out, no.
Yeah, it's not top charge.
Dad, I'm not going to keep fucking texting her, am I?
No, you don't want to do that.
Think I'm a fucking dick. Yeah, but sorry about that. I was just currently talking. Sorry for the interference. But yeah, so Young's another one of the players that needs to go. Again, we shouldn't have given Young a new 1 year extension last season. Again, he's been a long servant. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, he was our first choice right back last season before the arrival of Wan-Bissaka. So I think at least another 4 or 5 players do need to leave Manchester United. But a lot of money has been invested into the football club, in all the managerial areas, since the Ferguson era. You got 145 million spent under Solskjaer during the summer. Just under 400 million pounds was spent under Mourinho. Then you got us spending over 200 odd million under Van Gaal, around 60 odd million under Moyes. So it's around 700-800 million pounds that's been spent in the football club, and that's just under £1 billion. And that's not even taking into account, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. We've also got players on big contracts at the football club. You've got Rashford on a substantial amount on 300 grand a week. You've got Martial on 200 grand a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got Lingard on just over 100 grand a week. You've got De Gea on 375 grand a week. He's now the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. You've got Harry Maguire on 200 grand a week. So we have got players on big contracts. Definitely, players on big contracts. But, I don't want the football club to keep sacking managers anywhere. You could arguably say if we'd have had another manager, and it wasn't Solskjaer, maybe he could have been sacked by now, reflecting on, the first 9 games or so. The first, 7 games or so, or 8 games, were really, really bad until we've obviously turned it around recently. Could have been sacked by now. I think, the board have only stuck with Solskjaer. Obviously, they've softened their stance on him because obviously, he's a club legend. But, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, even though we have sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, anywhere. But it is actually, looking very, very probable, that we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. He's going to be our first signing in January, and he's going to be our 4th signing under the Against Solskjaer era. And taking into account, it's a cheap solution. Man United, only have to pay around £10 million for Mandzukic. I think the football club are prepared to give him around an 18-month contract. Don't forget, it come out the other week from a lot of media outlets saying that he has slashed his wage demands in half, from £300,000 a week to £150,000. So his current wage, was 300 grand, but he's halved it. obviously, in order to make his move to Manchester United. And he was one of the players, we was in for during the course of the summer, was Mario Mandzukic. My only element of concern about recommending him in I've got is that he's 33 years of age, so you can probably say he's got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But yeah, he's a good adequate replacement for Lukaku, but obviously, he isn't a long-term replacement. But he's never played in the Premier League. Obviously, he's been at quite a few clubs, by the way. He's I think you mainly see the best of him at Juventus. He's been at Juventus 4 years. He's now into his 5th season at Juventus. But since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, he hasn't played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance. So Mandzukic is, service to requirements at Juventus. But Solskjaer said he confirmed he wants to bring another forward in after, he completes the signing of Mario Mandzukic. We do know there's been obviously talks about, Moussa Dembele from Lyon. He's another player. Obviously, there's been other, players mentioned, like I recently give you the update regarding Kai Havertz and Thomas Muller, 2 Bundesliga stars on our agenda. It reportedly says, we're willing to spend up to around £125 million on the duo. You've obviously got Kai Havertz, who's predominantly an attacking midfielder. Obviously never played in the Premier League, but he's obviously not going to spend the entirety of his career with Leverkusen. Obviously he's at Leverkusen at the moment, and so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Leverkusen up until this point. He is only 20 years of age. Kai Havertz, he's a 2-footed midfielder, so he doesn't really have a preferred foot. He's actually good with both feet. His work rate's good. He can create chances. He can score goals, and that's the type of caliber player that Manchester United do need, basically. But he's been in the senior squad with Bayer Leverkusen since 2016. So he's been in their senior squad now for quite a few years. But he's been at Leverkusen overall since 2010, because I think that's when he joined their youth setup. Did Kai Havertz. But reportedly Leverkusen, if they were willing to axe him off, they'd probably want around £85 million. So I do believe that's the price tag. Regarding Muller, I think it's very, very unlikely that Manchester United will get Thomas Muller. Don't forget we inquired about getting Muller, back under the David Moyes era. We actually wanted to make him our first signing under David Moyes, but obviously nowhere we didn't. He's a good player, he's Muller. He's now obviously 30 years of age. Muller he's a Galactico player. He's obviously so far spent the entirety of his career with Bayern Munich. He's been there nearly 2 decades. If you want to take into the equation, if you want to include him, obviously, being in the youth academy in that, because he joined their youth academy in 2000. Obviously, he was in their youth academy 8 years and then made his senior debut in 2008. And then obviously since then, he's gone on to make just under 500 appearances, scored 186 goals and provided 171 assists. So he has done really, really well, and he's still under contract with Bayern Munich until 2021. His versatility is very, very good, so he can play in various roles, like he can play as an attacking midfielder, he can play as a forward, a centre forward, a second striker, can be deployed on either wing, and he's actually the vice captain of Bayern Munich. But he would be a cheaper solution than Kai Havertz, because I think we'd probably only have to pay around £30 or £40 million for Muller. So he's another player on our current agenda. But taking into account £125 million is obviously a substantial amount. It is a substantial amount, but would it be worth it, for them 2 players? I know definitely, they would dramatically improve Manchester United. There's no doubt about that. To be honest with you, I would love us to sign James Maddison. There has been some talks going on about James Maddison now for quite some time, and I do like James Maddison a lot, and I think he would be the right calibre player for Man United. He can create chances, he's Premier League proven. He can also score goals, like he's proven, with Leicester so far. Don't get me wrong, James Maddison, would cost a substantial amount. We'd probably have to pay around, 60 or £70 million for him. Leicester would probably demand a similar sort of fee, to as they do for Harry Maguire, because, Leicester did, didn't want to lose Harry Maguire, but, we actually, convinced them to, because, we paid the £80 million that they wanted. But I'd love James Maddison at Manchester United. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, but he can also be played on the left. because Rodgers has played him on the left quite a few times. I think a few teams are in for him and that. But, you know, he has done really, really well with Leicester, and he is only 22 years of age. Still 4 years left on his current contract, by the way. Leicester did pay around £20 million for him last summer from Norwich, so I'd love him at Manchester United. But if we are to get him, I think it's more probable we'll get him next summer, than, you know, rather than January. You know, there's still some people, you know, talking about, you know, the new director of football. Don't forget, during the summer, you know, we was in for a new director of football. Obviously, you know, we didn't get one in. And I did say, you know, that's one of the structural changes that we do need in the football club. And, you know... And you could arguably say if we'd have got that director of football in the beginning of the summer, then maybe in that aspect Solskjaer would have been back tomorrow, but we didn't get it in. Obviously, though, there was obviously speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week, and I did say if we had to get one in, it would be, you know, very, very beneficial to recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who's got that experience, someone who would be reliable to obviously our transfer business, because obviously Edwin van der Sar now is a chief executive at Ajax. I think he's now into his fourth season there with Ajax. Plus he used to play for Man United as a goalkeeper. But yeah, so definitely, you know, a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. You know, you know, and that, and yeah, so nothing much more really more to say. So I just wanted to give you this video to confirm that Solskjaer has obviously come out again, and he showed some honesty. He's got a lot of honesty about him, Solskjaer, and that's obviously, you know, something else. You know, I do like to credit him for. He's obviously, you know, aware of what's, you know, been going on this season and that. But he came out and admitted that Chelsea's youngsters are ahead of Manchester United. You know, he's very, very honest about that. And, you know, he's confirmed that, you know, Garner and Brandon Williams will be playing in this game, you know, which is very, very good news. I hadn't actually seen doing a press conference. I'm actually surprised at that. You know, I thought, you know, Solskjaer, you know, would have done a press conference, but obviously, you know, hasn't. What I've seen anyway, I will obviously, you know, go look up now. But yeah, so anyway guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.